We are now live on YouTube. Let's just wait for the activity to start coming in, making sure everyone can hear. Can everyone hear me? Hopefully everyone can hear me. How's it going, everybody? Hey, Gaming Pez. Hey, Owen Moore. Just gonna give everybody a few minutes here to get into the. Yeah, I can hear myself over there, so hopefully YouTube can. Very stormy on my side. I've been hearing that there's some storms coming through, which hopefully I hope it brings a lot of rain. All right, give me a second here to get set up here. We're starting just a few minutes early, just to, before we do that. Do. Incredibly quiet. Am I incredibly quiet? Okay. Give me a second here. I can adjust that, I believe. Is that a bit better? Oh, needed the mic a little bit closer. Okay. Well, I just turned myself up just a smidgen. I turned myself up a smidgen. Hopefully it's not too loud now. Hopefully it's not like, ah. Okay, let's just get a few more people in here before we get started. Hey, Frisky Beavers, how's it going? There we go. All right. All right. So I think we're about ready to get started. So what's up, guys? Canadian Guy here, and we are back with episode 7 of our Spyro Yap Sesh. I actually have your guys' chats right directly in front of me, so hopefully it's going to be easier for me to read. So where are we going to start? Let's start with, has there been news since we last had a Yap Sesh? Yes, we had the Kind of Funny Games interview. It was about an hour long, and I did a kind of a video going over some of the actual stuff that was talked about that was kind of newish, either newish or brand new entirely. Because we every single time you have an interview, you get different questions, and even if they're being held to certain PR points that they have to stick to, you will still get answers for things that you may not have thought of. So I think that is going to be I think those interviews, while there are quite a few of them out there, you can still extract little nuggets of information, even though there's still like a solid story that most people hold to. So the Kind of Funny interview was pretty good. I feel like that was something that was really good. I did enjoy that. Also, an announcement. I don't know if you guys saw, I posted a short yesterday. I posted a tweet yesterday as well. But I should probably post a YouTube post as well now I think about it. Having said that, Spyro Community Day is happening once again this year. It's going to be on September 4th, 2026. September 4th is going to be. You said a Streamlabs donation. Oh, no. Not again. Here, let me do this. But I see it was for $1. The Gaming Pez donated the first donation of the stream. Donated $1. Sorry to start the stream with a controversial topic. Oh boy, here we go. But are you still planning on getting the new Spyro game on PS5 with everything that Sony is doing, or will you opt for the PC or Switch 2 version? I do understand if you don't want to talk about it. Okay. Here's my mindset. Wouldn't it be better to buy the game physically? If we wanted to show Sony that we want them to not kill physical, wouldn't it be a smart idea to, if you're still going to buy on the PlayStation, that you buy it physical? Isn't that kind of the point? Isn't the point not to, oh, we're going to make sure that Sony perishes for this? It's, why don't we buy it physically? That's kind of where I'm like, I feel like that if we want to support these games and we want to show Xbox that you should, if you want physical to stay alive, your best bet is to try to buy physical, right? That's where that's where my mindset is because also, yes, Sony makes less money off of it, but it also shows, hey, we still want physical to be alive. That's just my thinking. I might be wrong, but that's just my thinking. You should do a crash yap session whenever things start ramping up for him. I do agree with you, Alani's Oasis. This was an idea that I had that was kind of why do you have the game set to a game that's not even out yet? Because I'm talking about that game. I'm talking about that game. That's what I'm talking about. That's what we're going on about, right? We're talking about A Realm Beyond specifically. So when I picked a category, I was like, oh, A Realm Beyond's on here. Yeah, I'll pick that. Because we're not talking about Reignited. We're talking about Spyro. So, again, Spyro Community Day, September 4th. I am still trying to figure out and plan what I'm going to be doing that day. I am going to try to push and get I'm going to try to get an exclusive for the channel for that day, whether it's an interview, whether it's a gameplay snippet, whatever it is. If I am able to get an exclusive gameplay, we're going to do an 8-hour stream that day as well. Or a 10-hour stream. We'll see. We'll do like an 8 or 10-hour stream. If I can't get an exclusive that day, then I will probably do a 12-hour stream again. So that's going to be the what's on the menu, unless something else comes along, right? Let's see here. I'm going to try to get an interview. I'm going to try my best. Hey everybody, how's it going? So, moving on from that, I want to talk quickly about something that's going to be painful for all of us. Painful in a good-ish way. When are we going to see the next update? When are we going to see the next trailer? When are we going to see a gameplay? Hey, thank you, Rotary Ash. I appreciate that. When are we going to see the next thing for A Realm Beyond? So I decided to go back and look at Reignited. I looked at Reignited. How long did it take from when Reignited was announced to Reignited showing official first things of gameplay? I got good news and bad news. So when Reignite came out after the trailer, they were posting GIFs and they were posting images and they were going all the way up until June 1st. So the game was announced in April 4th, and then June 1st is when they dropped the very first in-game snippet of Reignited. That was the first time. So that's 2 months later. So if we were to follow the same trajectory from June, July, August, is there anything in August? The answer is yes, it's Gamescom. Having said that, there is another interesting situation going down. See, there's Gamescom, which Spyro has participated in the past. They brought a demo to Gamescom in the past. They brought it was the Stonehill, Sunny Villa, and there was a either Stonehill and Sunny Villa, or I can't remember if they had one for Spyro 2 or not. Because the very first demo was Treetops and Toasty. That was the very first demo. The second demo was Gamescom, which was Stonehill, but then they did update it. It was Stonehill, Sunny Villa, and I can't remember if there was a third one or not. I hope so too. I hope that was it Idle Springs? It may have been Idle Springs. Or was it? Or was it Colossus? I do remember them showing off Idle Springs. Idle Springs may have had its own demo. I can't remember. But they did have 2 or 3 demos at the very least. And then there was an in-house demo that I went to at Toys for Bob for Dino Mines specifically. Now, do I think that I'll be invited to play the game? I think so. I'm, of course, not going to confirm anything. I don't know anything. And I'm not going to sit here and assume anything. I don't want to assume anything. However, I was invited for Reignited. I went to an early party for CTR. Crash 4, I got access to the pre-release demo that they were going to release for people pre-ordering the game. I got that early. And then Rumble, I had to fly down to California to go and play. And I had to pay out of pocket to get there. That was fun. But will they do the same for A Realm Beyond? It's a little bit tough because you have to remember Toys for Bob is no longer a physical studio. If we were to be doing something Spyro related, it would have to be at the Activision HQ, right? Having said that, we now have access to games and people who are gaining access to builds early. They're gaining access to builds early remotely. They are able to get a playable demo in their own home via PC, via PlayStation, or what have you. They're able to get them so people don't have to travel anymore. If you see online, there's a whole bunch of people that actually got exclusive builds for the new Halo Combat Evolved that's coming out. There's a whole bunch of people that got builds sent to them directly and not them having to travel all the way out there to actually get the build. They're getting the build directly sent to them digitally, which is interesting, but you also leave yourself open to NDA problems and issues, etc. So, do they have an office or anywhere to go to visit? Campaign Evolve. Sorry, yeah, Campaign Evolve. There is Activision HQ. So when we went for Crash Team Rumble, when I got there, it was Activision HQ. It wasn't, even though they were fully remote at that point. They were fully remote at that point, or essentially fully remote. I think I heard it was like 25% in person or but essentially fully remote. I know that I've heard Paul Yan say in an interview that they were 100% remote. Actually, no, they would have been 100% remote by the time Rumble came out. By the time Rumble came out, they weren't, because there was that video of that guy on TikTok that was going into the office to work. So if there were any in-person stuff with Toys for Bob at that point, it would have been a very small amount, because even Paul Yan wasn't at the Rumble. It was oh, that's gonna bother me now. Who was it? It was a very kind man who's also English. Toys for Bob. It's gonna bother me, so I'm gonna quickly look it up because it's gonna bother me. He's one of the head guys. What was his name? Dan Neal. Dan Neal, that was his name. That's right, Dan Neal. So Dan Neal was there in person, and a few other Toys for Bob members, but Paul was not there. So, there is. So when are we going to see our next update? I do have. This is where we're going to talk a little bit about Crash Bandicoot. Even though it's a Spyro Yap Sesh, we do have to talk about Crash Bandicoot. And there's a reason why. And I know there's some Spyro fans that say the words Crash and they get upset because of, not because they hate Crash Bandicoot, but because of how much content Crash got and how much starvation Spyro got. There's this little bit of a, no more Crash, we want Spyro. And I get it, but we do have to talk a little bit about Crash. So we were unsure about Crash Bandicoot's 30th anniversary. It was something that we knew was on the horizon, but we weren't sure as to what level it would be celebrated. We don't know. We don't know how much it was going to be pushed, how much it was going to be celebrated. Having said that, when we saw that TikTok video or Instagram reel come out that showed that there's a heavy implication that there is going to be a celebration of the Bandicoot, and the fact that he's going to be involved in Fortnite in some way, and the movie, and a number of other things, it makes me think, okay, are we going to see Spyro in September? Because is Toys for Bob, is Activision, is Xbox going to see a celebration of Crash and content about Spyro clash? We just got another donation. Thank you so much, Crash Gamer, for the $2.29 through Streamlabs. Thank you so much. Second donation of the stream. Glad you also joined against Sony's ridiculous announcement. Physical games still exist and people buy them. However, devs should more advertised physical boxes, adding posters, maps, stickers, and other fun stuff. Astrobot physical sold well because of that. I do agree with that. Thank you so much. I do have a question that's a little bit of a sidebar of this that I'll write down. All right. So I'm going to write that down to kind of get back to, because there is a Crash Gamer, there is a point that I need to get to here, but you do bring up a good point, because I did have a thought about this. Would Activision see that there would be a clash between talking about Crash's 30th anniversary and Spyro? There was a haunting thought that came to me that made me wonder, okay, is it possible that because Emerging Franchises has not released a game yet this year, are they going to try to squeak something out for Crash Bandicoot this year in 2026? And that's why Spyro got pushed back to 2027. And because of that, we won't hear anything of Spyro all the way to Game Awards, because they want to announce it now, get it out in the public so people can hear about it, so people can know about it, and then go quiet for months, have the Crash anniversary for everyone to talk about and celebrate, and then after that settles down, go back to Spyro. there is a concern there for me. There is a concern there for me. I don't like the idea of that. Is it possible? Yes. Do I think it's smart? No. But certainly a possibility. Unless we go back to one of my older videos that I made recently, which talked about the fact that perhaps there is going to be some sort of Crash crossover in A Realm Beyond at some degree in some level, where it's like a bonus level, or it's a, but before we see that, we have to see more of the actual game. And that's going to be a problem, because we can't have a CGI trailer with 7 seconds of gameplay and then have a 1 minute trailer featuring Crash Bandicoot. There's going to be it's going to be a disconnect. So they would have to, they have the trailer, the CGI trailer. They then would have to release some gameplay, a new trailer with some just exclusive gameplay for like 1 minute, 90 seconds. And then in September, they do a 45-second sizzle reel of, also, there's going to be a specific level, a specific world, a specific mission where Crash is involved to celebrate his anniversary, and it's still redirected towards Crash. So that is where it's going to be. That is where I think it's going to be. It would be smart if they did that. But in order to do that, that would mean that we would have to, because we're in July, we're halfway through July. We would have to see something by end of August. That's the next gaming showcase, is the end of August. Unless they just drop a random trailer out of the blue. Or if there's a, or if there 11-minute lore video on why Crash is in A Realm Beyond confirmed. I already did a video about this. So, but yes, Crash, unfortunately, is involved. Unfortunately, let me rephrase that. Crash may unfortunately be involved, and because of him being involved, it may bounce Spyro back. It might. I hope it doesn't. I hope Activision sees this as an opportunity to be able to advertise both and celebrate both, and to be able to push both and have both people happy about it. I don't think that would be, that it would be a problem. Now, here's the other issue that we have. We have Gamescom, right? And Gamescom goes until the end of August. Do you know what's immediately after Gamescom? Is PAX West. PAX West is like starts like on the 4th of September. So the Spyro Community Day start is PAX West. Now, I wasn't thinking about that until we set the date and we set everything up. And then I saw the dates for PAX West, and I thought to myself, was this a smart idea? Because if Activision is going to be at PAX, or if Toys for Bob is going to be at PAX, I was thinking of trying to figure out a way to actually get there and maybe host like a live donation stream or something to get me to go to PAX West to be able to, I think I would be able to get a private audience and be able to maybe get gameplay or get something, right? If it is on September 4th, then what I might have to do is that I might have to, if they are going to be there and there is a chance for me to get an exclusive, I may have to do like a round trip of like fly there on the 5th, right? Then get to the airport and then, oh my gosh, our third donation of the stream and the donation of the stream so far goes to Elena with a $50 super chat. Thank you so much. $5 from Grandma. She's watching. Please say hi, everyone. Hi. What's the P.O. Box status? Trying to figure out how to resend your package to make sure it gets home. 2, warning, package contains extreme cuteness. Thank you so much, Elena. Thank you. Thank you for the $50. That is incredible. one of our top supporters of the channel of all time. It goes to Elena, who is always amazing with the support. Thank you so much. P.O. Box status is currently shut down for now until the tariffs can be removed or changed or adjusted. So that's what it is. And I can't wait to be able to open up that package. It's going to be a little bit. It's going to be a little bit, but we gotta hang on. We gotta be able to make it so that we can open up trade between our two borders again without there being a massive headache for you, for me, for both of us. So there is a chance that there's a clash between Gamescom and PAX West. But also too, Gamescom is in Germany. If they bring a demo to Gamescom, Toys for Bob then has to fly back from Germany to California, which is one of the worst flights because it's Europe to the West Coast. It's not like, oh, from the East Coast to Germany. That's still rough, but that's not as bad. But you're talking an additional 4 hours. And then once they fly back from Germany, they get like 2 days rest. And then they got to go from California to Seattle, right? To set up for a demo event there. So I'm wondering, okay, what's going on here? Like, is there a way that they would do both? Would they do both? Would they just do Gamescom and not PAX West, even though they're there? It's kind of squirrely. It's kind of wild. It's kind of wild to think. So I'm not sure. Even in September, I think Spyro Community Day, I'm hoping Spyro Community Day we get something. I feel like that, because I did let Activision know ahead of time. I gave them a week's notice. What I was told was, I told them, hey, this is the date that we're looking at. This is what we're thinking. And I was told, yep, should be good. I'll let them know. And if there's any other, we'll let them know. The date seems okay, but I'll let you know if there's any changes required. I said, hey, just letting you know, if I don't hear back from you, we're going to be posting it next week, which was yesterday. Just need to make sure that, everything, or the day before, I can't remember if it was yesterday or the day before. It was yesterday. Said, hey, we're going to be posting it next week. Just letting you know. If you have any gripes about the date, let me know. I didn't hear any gripes after that, so I assumed, okay, so Activision, Toys for Bob, they knew about the date a week before I announced it, maybe even a little bit more. It might have been a week and a half, because I said, hey, I'm gonna give it so that if there's any problems, let me know. I wasn't told there was any problems, so I posted it. So I let them know about it. Was told it was good, got the green light, so I posted it. So I'm hoping that I am hoping that we do get I'm hoping that we get something on Community Day. That would be really cool. Watching Canadian guy yap about Spyro on a Saturday evening on a holiday in a different country is the best way to not get bored. That's a good start. I appreciate that. Is Gamescom not in multiple spots? Just in Germany? Yes, just in Germany. Gamescom is, I believe, exclusively to Germany. There may be another smaller Gamescom, but is still in Europe. But I'm pretty certain there's only one. I'm like 80% certain. And if there is a secondary Gamescom, it's a much smaller show. PAX has multiple locations. Do you feel they may have revealed the game too early? I mean, I know they wanted the game out there, but maybe it's not ready to be shown. I'm on the side of the sooner the reveal, the better, though. So, hey, Anna Vincent, how's it going? So, I don't think they revealed it too early. I think that they knew that they had to get it out. I think they knew that they had to get it out it was getting to the point where, okay, we're waiting a long time for this. I think that they revealed it at a good time. They gave just enough, but I still think they should have gave a little bit more. But timing wise, I think that they revealed it at a good time. I'm just worried that we're not going to, if we hear nothing all the way to Game Awards, that's going to be a Southwest Warrior. That's going to be really, really aggravating. I don't think that it was too early, though. So yeah, pull a neck muscle going down the stairs. I am saying you to this directly because I am now getting old. Listen, man, sometimes you go down the stairs and things just pull for no reason. Maybe we shouldn't have stairs. Or would different devs from the same team do different shows so that no one gets tired from a different time zones plus jet lag combo? You could do that. You could send like Paul to one and Lou to another. That's possible. The problem is that are they going to pull that much resources for Spyro? I don't know. Well, Hannah, you've been one of our longest supporters. Of course, I'm going to say hi to you. You've been a friend of the channel. You've been a supporter. You've hung out with us. You're super cool. Of course, when I see you, I'm going to say hi. Let me see here. So, of course. Let's see here. ACG, I noticed this when watching your 7-hour supercut leading to Reignited. The old voice of the sorceress in the original sounds like the original voice of Frieza in Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, I could see it. Woo! Sorry. Yeah, so I think, Elena, that they might do that. But again, I'm trying to remember, because I do remember Spyro was at Gamescom. So I do remember. The one place I'm not expecting to see it at would be a PlayStation State of Play, since Toys for Bob partnership is with Xbox. I'll say this. If it was Phil Spencer, I think that you could have held a spot open and be like, you know what? Maybe Phil Spencer would let that happen. But with Asha, no, absolutely not. We're not going to be seeing, we will not be seeing anything in terms of, Xbox, owned by Xbox, being shown over at PlayStation State of Play. Absolutely not. That is not going to happen. Won't happen, because Asha made it a point to pull back on a bunch of stuff, at least one particular thing for the PlayStation Showcase. That wasn't going to be there anymore, even though it is coming to PlayStation Day 1, which was Halo. They're like, nope, we're pulling that back. So yeah, we are, yeah. You're getting old when you make sounds just to bend down and reach something. Yep. Yeah, I'm there too. What happened to their post with all the concept art and anything? They just stopped. And it was just like, here's the Harakit. And I got a feeling that what's going to happen is that they're going to release a snippet, and then they'll release concept art showing off like how their ideation got there, and then it's going to slow down. There is a significant slowdown. So we're going to see. What's one thing you don't want to see in Spyro 4? One thing. Oh. So the one thing I remember saying that I didn't want backtracking, but now that you have an open world, you're kind of going to have backtracking, but it's going to be a bit different. What's one thing I don't want? I don't want I don't want button mash central when it comes to combat. I want there to be if I'm doing combat, I would love to be able to have even like a 3-button structure, right? A 3, maybe even let's go risky, even a 4-button structure for combat. I'd be down for that. When you get to a 1 or 2-button combat structure, that's annoying. That's annoying because all you're doing is you're just holding the analog stick in a direction and you're mashing one button over and over and over again. And then, oh, hold this button. So Legend of Spyro is mash, 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 fire. Mash, 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 fire. Right? Like, no, I want something that is a little bit not button mashing. And what happened was that then they made these characters' health bars super massive. So you got these giant, giant health bar, button mash, button mash, button mash, button mash, button mash, stop, button mash, button mash. And this was for every single combat. I want it to be like, okay, you're fighting this armored character. He's completely armored. Okay, fire breath doesn't work. Charge doesn't work. But if you jump in the air, you can grab him and you can tear off the armor and then you can take him out. Cool. So now there's interaction where it's like, okay, I have to think a little bit differently here. I have to jump up in the air, grab the metal, tear it off of him, and then one hit, done. Cool. I want there to be little guys that you can just smack once and just send them to space. Just boof, that's it. Like little minions that you can hit once and, just like little filler creatures surrounding a bigger creature. I want there to be a character with like shields that, he slams down on the ground and you got to pry the shields off and then hits, right? I don't want it overly complicated, but I don't want button mash central, right? I want to be able to think, okay, these guys, I have to do this. And more than just, oh, these guys I charge or these guys I use fire. No, it's, okay, I need to do this, right? There, you got your little guys that are like, all right, take them out with 1 hit. Then you get your bigger guys, take them out with 3 hits. Cool. I don't want these health bars. They're just bang, 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 and the same button over and 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 over. No, please, gosh, no. I don't want a Souls-like. I don't want... Why can't combat just be classic Spyro, Flame, and Charge? Or Charge? Because when you get open world like that, it's not as fun. You need to be able to have a little bit more. There needs to be a bit more depth. There has to be a bit more depth than just Flame and Charge. You need more than that. But how much more? And that's the problem. Because if you put too much in it, you're now losing your... You put too much in it, you're now... No. If you keep it shallow, people are going to get bored. Right? Not Dragon Souls like that against you. No. No. We're not doing that. Hey, Live the Clumsy Dane. How's it going? Is any part of you disappointed that it's not a traditional collectathon? So, this is where there's a little bit of in my opinion, a disconnect. There's a little bit of a disconnect here. I am in the opinion that Banjo-Kazooie, in my opinion, is a collectathon. I love Banjo-Kazooie. Banjo-Kazooie is a collectathon. Crash Bandicoot is a tight platformer. Spyro sits kind of like in the middle. Are there collectathon aspects in Crash Bandicoot? Yes. Are there platforming aspects in Banjo-Kazooie? Absolutely. But Spyro isn't really a exclusive traditional collectathon. There are collectibles in it. Don't get me wrong. Of course there is. Just like there's collectibles in Sonic. Just like there's collectibles in every single mascot platformer. But the question is how much of a collectathon is there? And Banjo, I think, in my opinion, is the gold standard when it comes to this is a collectathon. You want a game that is okay, I want to collect all the things. I want to look for all the items. I want to look at the whole point of the whole game is to look up and down and find every collectible possible, right? That's Banjo-Kazooie, right? Crash Bandicoot is I need to get to the end and survive, right? I need tight platforming, I need precision, and on the way there's things to collect. Spyro sits in the center, right? So I don't think that, to me, I don't see Spyro as a traditional collectathon. I don't. I see it sitting in the middle there, right in the middle. And I am okay with Toys for Bob evolving it. Because the thing is that there are games that were made back in the day because they were limited to that. They were limited to that, right? There was a structure that they had to follow. They couldn't make the games a certain size. They couldn't have graphics go too far. They couldn't have their polygons this way. They couldn't have their lighting this way. So they were constricted and they had to cheat and they had to deal with what they had, right? Nowadays, we now have games that could be any scale almost. Asterisks. I put an asterisk there, right? But it's almost limitless. And now there are games that are coming out that are still trying to follow that original constraints. And sometimes that works. Sometimes it doesn't. But what Toys for Bob is trying to do is that they are trying to create something that goes beyond a nostalgia trip. They want to create something that goes, hey, we want this to... It starts off as, yes, a nostalgic trip, but then it has its own merit to be able to pivot and be able to become a game that people want to see and come back every year, right? And they want a new Spyro game every 2-3 years, right? Every 2-3 years, people are like, hey, where's that next Spyro game? I want that new Spyro game. I want that new Spyro game. They are trying to evolve it past its original state. Because, unfortunately, what some people do is that they get nostalgic, they pick up a game, they start to play it, and they drop it because they get the nostalgia fix and then they stop playing it, right? And that happens a lot, right? Yes, nostalgia is going to be what draws a lot of the initial people in for Spyro, but they want people to be like, oh, Spyro, cool, and they play like, oh my gosh, this game is awesome, right? And I believe that that is going to be what they're trying to do with The Realm Beyond. They are trying to knock it out of the park. I've always wondered if you have in fact played Skylanders. Just curious. I have streams. I have evidence of it. I have unfortunate proof in a bin back here. I have played Skylanders. Let me explain. These are all Skylanders. These are not the special ones I were given, but these are the bargain bin ones. These are the ones that when I went shopping, this is to the brim with Skylanders. Ugh. Let me explain. Show me freeze, please. Thank you, Mahara, for the $2. I'm not digging through that. Absolutely not. Love you, Mahara. Thank you for the support. No way. I don't even know who that is. Freeze Blade, Skylanders. I have no clue. I may have it. I may not have it. I have no clue. I have no clue. But the story behind that, okay? I had a project that I wanted to do, and I never got to it. I still want to get back to it one day, where I wanted to do could you 100% a Skylanders game? And it was a whole thing, a whole adventure that I did. And I did. Unfortunately, I found out after the fact I picked the worst game to 100%, or one of them. And it was Trap Team? Trap Team. It was Skylanders Trap Team. So I 100%ed Trap Team, and the way that you got the best figures weren't to buy them individually. Because if you're like, hey, I need this specific figure, you would go online and it's like, hey, it's $75. And I'm like, no, absolutely, positively not. By the way, again, thank you so much, Miharu, for the $2. I do appreciate that. But it's like $75 for a figure for some of them. And I'm like, no, I'm not spending that. No way. However, if you go on Facebook Marketplace or you go on your local classifieds, you get a parent that's just like, look, just take them. Okay, my kid's in college. He hasn't touched these in a decade. Please just take them, $20. Just take it, right? And it's a whole bin of Skylanders. And all they're going to do, and I'd be like, okay, cool. And I would look through, and if I found one that I needed to be able to finish the game, I would go and buy it. However, in my mind, I was like, yeah, I got the two Skylanders that I needed to be able to 100% the game. But now I have 30 other Skylanders, 40 other Skylanders. So I just set them aside. And I kept doing it. And then when I finally finished on live, I finished Trap Team. I turned and I collected it all, and it is just a giant pile of Skylanders that I now have. And I don't know what to do with them. I don't know what to do. I have a few special ones. I have a few that I will keep. But I have a giant pile. I have a giant pile that I don't know what to do with. Because I have like 13 Tree Rexes. I don't need 13 Tree Rexes. I don't like one or two. I could have like a regular one and a special edition one. Cool. I don't need 13 of them. Okay. I don't even want to know how many, the gunner guy, I can't even remember his name. Guy with, no gold, no glory, whatever his name is. Okay. I don't even want to know how many of those guys I have. I could probably build a fort with the amount that I have. So, Trigger Happy, thank you. I have too many, and I don't know what to do with them because I don't want to throw them out, but I also don't really know how to sell them. I don't know what to do. I didn't go and buy them individually. As I said, I would just buy, you go to your local classifieds and just be like, Skylanders. And again, if you try to go and buy a single Skylander, it can be expensive. It can be expensive for a singular Skylander. It can be like, oh, yeah, that Skylander is $75, or that Skylander is $30. I'm like, I'm not spending $30 on a single Skylander. But then you get these parents that are like, hey, $10 and you take the whole bin. Please take the whole bin. It will probably at least contain one of the things that you need. So I just bought in bulk, and then it was still cheaper than if I just bought the individual Trap Masters that I needed. It was still way cheaper. And I'll tell you the other thing, and then we gotta get back to Spyro. I'll tell you the other thing that happened too that made me want to punch myself 82 times. There was one thing I couldn't find. I had the game 100% done except for one thing. I needed a light trap. I had a dark trap. I had the expansions. I had everything. I just needed a light trap. I couldn't find one anywhere. I couldn't find it anywhere. Okay. And I finally caved and I decided, you know what? I'm going to just order a light trap online. And it cost me like $45 for a light trap. But I got it. I was like, there, it's done. 100% the game. Fantastic. A week later, I was missing a few of the trap masters. I wanted all the trap masters, but I was missing a few of them. And I found a bundle that someone was like, hey, please take them. And I saw one of the trap masters on there. It was $10. Sure. I buy the bundle. I open it up. I'm going through and I pull up a light trap. I pull up the light trap. I wanted to scream. I wanted to scream. I was so angry that was the last bundle I ever bought. I did not buy any more. I was like, nope, no more trap masters, no more nothing. I'm done. I'm finished. I'm done. I couldn't do it. I'm like, I can't do it. I wanted to get at least all the trap masters. Couldn't do it because I was so mad. And I still haven't done it. Lore of the donate $1. Give me your Skylanders. Do you know how long? Do you know how many tariffs that they would charge on that? But now I looked at the I'm not going to show because I don't want to show off my local classifieds, but there's the Skylanders, even in the local classifieds, they're starting to go up in price again. And I was like, oh boy. And they're going back up and they're like, oh, well, you know, the Skylanders is becoming nostalgic and they're trying to scalp for a ridiculous, like, see, this person is trying to sell 40 Skylanders, the game a Portal, cash only, and they want to sell it for $175. And I'm looking at it. There ain't nothing special in there. It's Skylanders Giants, basically. There ain't nothing special in there. There you look. Actually, I can't do that right now. Hold on. Actually, I can do that if we do this. Take a look. $175 for that. No thanks. Nope. No. No way. No way. Because then you also get some people that are just like, hey, just come get them. And they don't know, and they're just like, just please come and take them, right? But then you get some people that are just like, oh, I'm going to try to, like this. What do you mean? What do you, like, here's another one. Let me ask you. How much do you think they're selling this for? How much? Okay? For this pile of Skylanders, they want $300. Huh? What do you mean $300? For Skylanders? No, I'm sorry. No, that's ridiculous. Like, if that's $300, I'm sitting on $4,000 over here. Thank you so much for the 5 bits Rotary Ash. We appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, I absolutely would not. Like, they're saying, oh, a lot of 49. Lot of 49? Brother. No. Absolutely not. No, I'm not. I can't do it. I can't. I can't do it, Captain. In this economy, $300 in this economy. Yeah, I'm sitting on a treasure trove over here. Apparently, like goodness gravy, me oh my. Why is Spyro such a big deal for you? For me, it was my all-time first game on PlayStation X. So yeah, Robo is the one that like I would be like, oh, that's the one that you hold on to. You hold on to Robo. Robo is one that's like if I found a bundle for $100 and it had Robo in it, I'd go get it. You know what? I do some tabletop gaming. Maybe I'll use some of them for minis. That's a good idea. So why is Spyro such a big deal for you? For me, it's my all-time first game on PSX. So Spyro was my very first game that was bought for me by my parents. So Crash Bandicoot was my brother's. Final Fantasy was my sister's and brother, right? Everyone had shared games, but everyone had a game that was like theirs. It was like their game. Ridge Racer was my other brother's, right? So there's my brother Mark, my brother Adam, and my sister Rose. And Rose, Final Fantasy, right? Rose and Mark played Final Fantasy. Crash Bandicoot was Mark's. Ridge Racer was Adam's, right? And there was a number of those types of games. Killick. Then there was the family games like Ballerina Toshinden, and there was all these games. And it was games that was like, oh yeah, this is for the family, or oh, this is for Mark, or oh, this is for Adam, this is for Rose, etc., etc., etc. And I was always playing their games. And eventually it was like, hey, little baby CG needs his own game. What game are we going to get? Well, we always see him playing that demo on Crash Bandicoot for that Spyro game. Why don't we get that from? And for the first time, I got my first game that was, hey, this is for CGE. This is for baby CG. This is Spyro. And it was mine. It was my game. It wasn't Mark's game. It wasn't Adam's game. It was my game. And so that was something that I could never forget. And so that was my deep connection with Spyro, right? I technically played Crash first, but so Crash was my first PlayStation game that I played, but Spyro was the first game that was mine. It was mine. And that was something that was always stuck in my mind. And I still have it. I have my original one over there with my mom's handwriting on it, because it was back in the day when you put your name on everything. I still have my original one. It's actually over here. For some reason, I can't find my original Ripto's Rage. I have Year of the Dragon somewhere. I bought a new copy of Year of the Dragon somewhere, but I have my original. This is my original one back when I was a kid. Disc still in it, manual still there. This is my original PlayStation, and you can see at the top here my my name up here with my mom's handwriting right here. It has the cracks in it that I remember. It has those cracks, but I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it. This is, this is, mine. So, it was, and I got hooked, and Crash came along all the way. Do you think they'll add Dragon Eggs in the Realm Beyond? They may. So, all right, let's keep this going. Let's see here. CG. How about an option to choose your combat style before starting A Realm Beyond? Classic Spyro fans can still have their charge and flame in 1 or 2 attacks, and the TLS fans can have their melee combat. No. No. That sounds... Why did you send me a frog? Why is there a frog in my DMs? So, no, absolutely not. On a level of game design, that sounds like a nightmare. And that's not to be rude. That's not to be rude. But to be blunt and to be honest, for game design, that's a nightmare. That's an absolute nightmare. To have your own option to choose combat, I don't even think that it would be even if it was like, even if they did it in a way that was smart, I still don't think it would be a good idea. That's my opinion. And if you disagree, that's okay. That's fair. But it would be, it would be, in my opinion, a nightmare to be able to do that. And I think that if they do that, they're trying to balance things that they really, really don't need to do. I do hope that they add. I do hope that Dragon Eggs would be interesting. I love dragons. I love getting the collectible dragons. I would love to be able to get, I would absolutely love to be able to get, more dragons. Will we? I don't know. I don't know the plot, but I hope that we can. It would be super cool. I love dragons as collectibles. One of my favorites. All right. Oh, you know what would be cool? Oh, you know what would be cool? I just thought of something. Hear me out. Hear me out. Just hear me out. Hey! Another $50! Elena and Owen have just tied for the donations of the stream. We got another 50 from Owen Moore. Thank you so much, Owen. If you're to make an educated guess, do you think they will make a single huge open world that may have portals that lead to mini games or other levels? Or do you think there will be 4, 5, or 6 home worlds that are equivalent to DK Bonanza's layers? First of all, thank you so much, Owen. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. You are awesome. You are amazing. Thank you so much. Okay. I think neither. Here's what I think is going to happen. I think that we are going to get something that is going to be bigger than Astrobot, smaller than Sonic Frontiers, with home worlds that are similar in size to DK Bonanza. So, this is where I think it's going to go. And this is my extrapolation. When I spoke with Toys for Bob in the private Q&A, when I've listened to all the interviews, when I went through all of those things, the thing that always stood out to me is Toys for Bob knows what makes Spyro Spyro. And one of the questions that I specifically asked was, hey, at one moment, you're in Scottish Highlands, and then the next moment, you're in literal rivers made of honey. And then the moment after that, you're in a desert, right? One of the things about Spyro that makes Spyro Spyro is its diverse environments. That is something that I hold to. And I said, one of the things that makes Spyro Spyro is its diverse environments. When you have an open world game, how do you make it so that you can have those diverse environments without it feeling like a discombobulated discombobulated bag of body parts, right? Or how do you make it so that it makes sense? And while I didn't get an exclusive answer, they agreed with what I stated and said that we can't go into detail about it now, but we do, as arbiters of the Spyro franchise, we understand these diverse environments, and we are going to be making sure that, and we're going to be trying to achieve that. So they can't really confirm nor deny anything. But I, in the question that I said, I plotted it out. I'm like, you got this, it goes to here. This is one of the things that's so good about Spyro. How are you going to achieve it with an open world? And while I didn't get a direct answer, I got a yes, we agree. Stay tuned, essentially. So what makes me think is, okay, this makes me think, okay, in that case, wouldn't it make sense that we are going to have an open hub world that I think, but then I want you to think smaller than Sonic Frontiers. Sonic Frontiers, way too big. Way too big. Way too big. I'm sorry, Sonic Frontiers fans. Listen, you could have chopped that game in half and it would have been better. Maybe a quarter. There were areas in Sonic Frontiers that were 10 out of 10. There are areas in Sonic Frontiers that were 10 out of 10. This is the best Sonic game ever. And then there were other times where I'm like, what am I playing? Where it would jump from 6 out of 10 to 10 out of 10, back down to 6 out of 10 to 7 out of 10 to 8 out of 10. It was inconsistent in my opinion. And one of the things about Sonic Frontiers is that it was massive. It was so big to its detriment. Right? So I want you to take those hub worlds and go about half the size. Okay? But then I want you to take those levels that Sonic went into and go double the size. Okay? So double the size of the levels that Spyro goes into, these portals or these areas, or wherever, whether it's portals, whether it's entryways, whether it's spots, whatever, double the size in the world, and the hub world half. Right? And cram that sucker with fun things to do. I hate to say it, but I want you to look at Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is closer to what I think they're going to be going for. And I know everyone's like, oh, another Breath of the Wild. And yes, I get it. I understand it. I'm in that party too of like, oh, another Breath of the Wild, take on it. No, I'm not saying that specifically, but take a look at Breath of the Wild and Sonic Frontiers, and you can kind of see where I think they're going to probably go with it. Now, the question is, will there be portals? And of course, we don't know. Let's keep going with some of the questions. Will it have de novo? Okay. Let me be frank for a moment here. There is no way. Let me explain this for a second. When people ask, is it going to come complete on the disc? Because there's a number of questions that people have asked that are in this line, which is it going to be on the disc printed? Is it going to come with a disc? Is it going to be digital only? Is it going to be, is it going to be whatever the Switch's thing, smart cartridge or whatever, game cart or whatever, the thing that everyone hates over on Switch right now? Let me be frank and let me be clear. There is no way for us and anybody to know anything, any of this information about these games, about that. And it's also at the moment on a pretty low priority right now because we don't even know what the full gameplay is going to look like. Game keycard, thank you. It doesn't make sense like, oh, I don't know if there's going to be underwater exploration or basic exploration or how the fireball is going to work, but I know that it's going to be a game key card or not. Do you see what I mean? The level of priority is that we're not there yet. We have no clue. We have no clue. We don't know. The only thing that I think would be more pertinent, that would be like, okay, I can understand why you're asking that, is because of what's happened recently, will it come with a physical edition? That is something that I think is logically to ask. So I will say that is a fair question. The fair question to ask is that, will there be a physical launch? Because of what's been going on recently, I get it. I 100% get why you're asking that, because unfortunately, you know, about a month ago, I would have been like, really? Why are we asking this question? Now, with the times, I'd be like, that might be a good question to ask. But beyond that, when it comes to these really specific questions about, will the whole thing be printed on disc? Will it be game key card? Will it be like, there's no way we could know this yet. There's no way, right? There is no game that has come out to say, hey, you know, there's no way to turn and say, hey, I don't know whether or not you're going to be able to go underwater, or, hey, I don't know what the combat's going to be like, but I do know it's going to be a game key. There's no way. There's no way. And we can hope, and we can hopefully get it, but there's no way that I could know. There's no way that I could know. Especially this early. Rory Ash, donating another 5 bits. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Do you think TFB will give us another trailer and a more specific release date, at the very least, that what month they hope to release it on Spyro Community Day? So there was a question that someone asked earlier, so I'm gonna tie this question with that question. So I'm gonna tie Train Lover's question of a more specific release date, and also the question of, is it possible that it could be delayed and pushed back? When they sat down and they were talking, they said that specifically, they said that they were confident in that. Is that a nutrition label on your thermos? Yes, it is. So my mom got this for me for Father's Day. It says Super Daddy-O. On the back, it's a nutritionist facts. It says strength 100%, guarding 150%, reliable 200%, unbelievable skill 300%, devotion and care 500%, and unconditional love is unlimited. And it says percent daily values may be higher depending on your child's needs. And it says #1 dad. So yes, there is a nutritional fact on it. It is very cute. It is very cute. I like it. And it's a great thermos. So why not, right? It is warm in here. I need to open up the vent above. The ruler of vent opening. My shirt. Come on. There you go. That's better. All right. No fiber, though. Yeah, no fiber. Shirt's riding up. Jeez. Bloody hate that. Anyway. Continuing. There is... I hope we get something on Community Day. I really do. Because again, let me read the letter again. Let me read the letter again that we got. Which is, you're invited, the dragon has returned. You're invited to join an exclusive group of insiders as part of #Team Spyro, a handpicked community helping build hype for the first brand new Spyro game in nearly 20 years, Spyro: A Realm Beyond. As a member of Team Spyro, you'll be the first to know when we have Team Spyro loot drops, insider emails packed with content, Q&A opportunities with Toys for Bob, giveaway prizes and community rewards, content amplification from official Spyro and Activision channels, a chance to connect and collaborate with other passionate creators and fans. Most importantly, we want to work directly with you to shape how the community experiences Spyro. We're all ears for creative ideas, content opportunities, and ways your audience wants to learn more about the game. Looking forward to getting everyone fired up for Spyro's return. #Team Spyro. Have you considered collaboration for yourself in case? First of all, I like Queso. Queso's cool. Queso's chill. I don't think Queso's also massive. Queso's massive. And I mean that in the audience sense. He's also really tall. That guy's he's a big boy. He's a big boy, would absolutely destroy me in every way. Queso is big in a social media sense. And what am I to Queso? I'm not that big. I'm not that big in terms of subscriber size. I'm not that big in, no, Queso is a cool guy. He's a chill guy. It would be a waste of time for him to collab with me. It would be a waste of time for him. I am now, if the question was, would I meet Queso? I would love to meet Queso. Would I be friends with Queso? If his online persona is what he is in real life, I would love to meet him, and I would love to hang out with him, and I would love to talk with him and chill with him. That would be cool. But in a professional sense, it doesn't make sense. On a personal sense, cool. I would love to be able to meet him and talk with him and chat with him, and would love to do all these things. But in a professional sense, I don't see where I can help him or collab with him and help him grow or help assist him. If he did something professional with me, it would be literally a favor, and it would be a kindness out of his heart for me. And I don't see why, because I haven't done anything for him, and he hasn't done anything. And well, I can't say he's never done anything for me, because he's gotten to a point where he's gotten so large in the social media space that he attracts people that are not online viewers to become online viewers. So in a way, he has helped me, because there's some people where they get drawn, that they are terminally offline, and they become online because of streamers like Queso, right? So it would be like hey, if I was at a party or if I was at a social event of any way and I saw Queso, I would say hi. I would say, appreciate all the work that you do. And if he knew me, you want to chat with me, I would sit down and I would talk to that guy for hours if he wanted to, right? And if we wanted to be friends, if, wanted to send each other birthday cards or whatever, cool. I'm fine with that. That I'm cool with. But professionally, I don't see where I would help him. It would be a boon to me, right? That's all it would be. That's all. He would be doing it as a favor to me, as a friend. There is no professional way where that would work. It would make more sense. Someone that would be closer would be like Ant Dude, for example. Ant Dude would be more closer to, I think, my realm, but even then, that would be, it's still, he's a lot bigger than me, but he's not Queso, at least not yet. I don't think so, right? Ant Dude would be closer to, because he loves Crash and he loves Spyro, and there's a working relationship there. There's a working relationship there that makes sense, right? I mean, you help me in that way, CG, so nothing's impossible. Okay. To counter that point, and to add on to my point first, you are also my friend, right? You are also my friend. So not only, and you've also I know you. I know that you're a kind and genuine person. Queso doesn't know me as a kind and genuine person. Queso doesn't know me. I don't know if Queso is a kind and genuine person. I don't know him. But because I know you, right? Because I know you, and because you know me, I now know, hey, this guy is creatively smart. This guy is intelligent. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He knows what he's doing. Okay. So when we sit there and we collab, it's also, I wouldn't say a favor. I'm not going to say it's a favor, but it's also hey, this guy genuinely deserves a lot more. And if I can help with that, that would be great. And we're friends. If Queso became a friend with me first and then wanted to do, hey, let's do a collab, sure, I would be fine with that. Here, so let me set the parameters. If I met Queso in person. We became friends. He was super cool, and he liked me, and I liked him, and there was a natural, and then, you know, we're sitting there, we're bantering each other, and there's a natural chemistry between us that's super cool, that we both like. And then Queso turned to me and said, hey, do you want to do a video together, or do you want to do a stream together? You want to do whatever? And I said, sure, okay, because we were friends first and then entered the professional sphere. There's no reason for him to enter the professional sphere with me, because what do I add for him? I don't. I don't. Most people who are my fans know him, right? Most people who are fans of me also know who Queso is. But not everyone who's a fan of Queso, even remotely close, there's a large amount of people. So, and this goes for a lot when people say, hey, do you want to collab with Caddy? There's almost not any person that doesn't know Caddy that are in the chat, right? There's not a lot of people in this chat that are like, who's Kid Icarus? Most people know him, right? I don't have a personal relationship with him. Why would, the only reason that he would collab with me would be, hey, I want to give this guy a favor, but he doesn't know me. So why would he go that far? Do you get what I'm saying here, right? So, for example, that's where, when it comes to figuring out collabs and stuff like that for my own channel, that's where I'm like, okay, right? Everybody knows Caddy. Everybody knows him, right? If they haven't watched him, they have at least heard of him, right? There's very few people that are like, I have never heard of this guy before, ever. But again, I'm small beans, right? If there was another content creator that was, let's say they're 2,000 subscribers, I don't know them, and they send me an email that's like, hey, let's collab, I would be like, okay, let me take a look, right? And I would at least entertain it, right? I would entertain it. I would take a look, right? Because that's what I do. What I personally do, this is what I personally do. I'll tell you what I do. I'll tell you what I personally do. When I get a request, okay? When I get a request, for an interview, or when we want to collab, the first thing that I do is that I look at their channel. Is this somebody that wants to make content? Is this somebody that is, because if I don't know them, if it's somebody that I know personally and they say, hey, let's collab, and it's related, semi-related to what we're doing, sure, let's collab. Let's do something fun together. Sure, why not, right? Because we're friends. I know you. We're cool. But if I don't know them and they're sending me a message saying, hey, let's collab, the first thing I do is I look at their channel, and is this something that they want to do? Is this something that is going to be, and then I look at their other videos. Have they interviewed other people? Have they collab with other people? How are they with people? And there's some people that I look and I'm like, I don't think I would vibe with this person. I don't see it. I don't understand it. I don't see it. And typically I'll send a message back saying, hey, I appreciate it, but no, you know, I try to, I don't get to all of them. I will admit I don't get to all of them. If I look and I'm like, I don't think we would vibe, but sometimes it's somebody that's like, oh, they talk about, you know, PlayStation stuff all the time, or they talk about Crash, or they talk about Spyro, and I think their energy is cool. And I was like, yeah, sure, let's collab, right? That's my filter, right? That is where my brain goes. Not everybody has that, right? Not everybody has that mindset. There are people that they don't have time. They don't have time. They don't have the time. It's like, look, I would love to collab with you. I don't have time. And that's fair too, right? Where it's like, oh, the collab would be good. Yeah, but we'll see. So that's my thoughts. Going off topic a little bit here. Let's try to rein it in a little bit. I probably got about another 20 minutes left before we wrap up. Sorry, you're saying TB were confident about something. What was that? They were confident about the release date. They had said that I've heard both. Yeah, I know Square Eye Jack and Destination Mark. I've talked with Mark privately several times, and we hung out in person at the Crash Team Rumble event. We've spoken a number of times, and Square Eye Jack and I have had interactions in the past. Very brief, and there was something between us that we went about professionally, and we solved it, and we fixed it, and we're good to go. And that's it. Right. So Square Eye Jack, got respect for him, and of course, mass respect to Destination Mark. I know them both. I think actually Mark gave me a request that I have to get back to. I just remembered he asked me if I wanted to be on something. Speaking of collabs and Destination Mark, I need to get back to him. It's been a crazy month. I was in Ohio for a bit, but rewinding back. Toys for Bob said that they are confident on the release date, that spring 2027 is going to be the release. And I'm going to push this a little bit further, which is something that I think that a lot of people really need to understand and know, is that Toys for Bob is a studio that they confirmed in the Kind of Funny podcast, which we already knew this. We already all knew this just by looking at the obvious statements. But Toys for Bob does not like to sit on a game longer than 3-4 years. They don't like it. And also, hold on. I gotta pull up something. I'm gonna pull this up. I'm getting a whole bunch of frogs in my DMs now. Dang it, Shooter. Dang it, Mason. All right. So I found one of the worst headlines for a comment that, and I'm going to call it out here because I do think that this is one of the worst headlines ever. Okay. So Paul Yan said that they were like, in the Kind of Funny Gamecast, they were like, oh, when you're trying to figure out the game and you're trying to figure out what's new, and when do you know when to pull back, and when, oh, we went too far, let's pull back, or when to know when to go forward. And then Lou said that, yeah, that happens a lot. You're playing with it, you're tooling with it, and then you realize, oh, that's too much, let's pull it back, right? And then Paul went on to add on to that, but then he also stated, hey, scope creep is an actual problem. And scope creep is like, you can come up with these great and brilliant ideas, but you need to be able to work within your budget. And we come up with all these great and fantastic ideas, and we're like, hey, we kind of got to pull back a little bit because we're getting too big, too out of scope, and we need to be able to know that. Okay. And we have a bunch of experienced and amazing developers who have a bunch of old tenors that know, hey, we know when the game is getting too big for our britches or way too big in scope and size, and we need to pull it back a little bit. That good comment, like smart, great, and amazing that it's been acknowledged, especially the fact that it's been acknowledged that scope creep is a thing, which is a whole hole to fall down on that, is for a topic for a different time. Then someone made this headline. Spyro A Realm Beyond devs don't have the time or budget for all the cool ideas they had for the first all-new Spyro game in ages, studio lead says. And of course the comments are like, what do you mean you don't have the budget? Well, you should give them all the budget for all these ideas. And I'm like, oh my gosh. You are taking such an innocent, logical, innocuous comment and stretching it into a headline that is such a far bloody stretch. It's like, oh, brother, what are you doing? Come on, man. Like, what a stretch! Like, what are we stretching here? Where have we lost the plot, my dude? They didn't say, well, we had these really good ideas, but man, like, oh, man, We can't do it. We don't have the budget. I guess we gotta pull back. No, that's not what was said. Let me look it up. I just took the screenshot and said, "Oh, brother." This was Games Radar. Listen, I haven't even read this yet. I haven't read it yet. Let me predict. They're going to have the headline. Then they're going to have a subtext that's going to be like, oh, because of XYZ. That gives kind of an explanation. Then they're going to give a summary of Spyro finally coming out. It's been 20 years. The last time we saw them was Reignited. A bunch of fluff that is just a backstory that we never asked for. Then it's going to give the source of the comment. And then it's going to give the answer to the headline. And then a quick wrap up. And the quick wrap up is going to concede to the point that, oh, well, you know, it would seem that and then finish. Okay? So I haven't read the article yet, but let's go there. Here we go. Spyro Realm Beyond devs don't have the time or budget for all the cool ideas they have for the first all-new Spyro game in ages, studio lead says. Let me put this over here to make this easier for everybody to read. There we go. Scope creep is a real thing that Toys for Bob has to be aware of, says Paul Yan. The first all-new Spyro in 18 years, Spyro Realm Beyond, is finally set to launch early next year, but the devs at Toys for Bob have had to be careful not to get too carried away with their cool ideas. That would see the platformer run out of budget and time. Associate Creative Director Lou Stutter and studio head Paul Yan recently appeared on an episode of Kinda Funny Gamecast, where they were asked if there were any moments during development when they realized they were going too far. The answer is yes, though Stutter explains that every game is like that, since there's so much eyeballing and napkin math involved as the team works out what elements might need cutting back and what they might want more of. There are areas where you tighten the belt and there's some areas where you expand, he continues, just part of the game development process. Yan adds to this, noting that scope creep is a real thing. There's a simple reason for this. Every time you're in a conversation with creative folks, it's always like, wouldn't it be cool if this happened? And yes, Yan says, they absolutely are cool ideas, but if you commit to every single one of those, you know, without some discipline, then your game blows out of budget and blows out of time. Thankfully, this isn't Toys for Bob's first rodeo. The studio is high tenor folks who have worked together and can complete each other's sentences, and are also so highly senior that they know the drill when it comes to shipping games and understanding what is the scope within our team. In summary, he concludes, we know ourselves and we know when things are a little bit beyond our reach or too much. Then we'll pull it back down to what is appropriate for us developing and also for the experience. One thing the devs haven't held back on, however, is A Realm Beyond's flight system. In the same podcast, the devs explain that they want flying to be a very active thing, and crucially not like a flight simulator where you can leave Spyro on autopilot. So expect you can see plenty of decision making there. It's funny that we have it's not a flight simulator and you have War Thunder right over here. You know what the worst part is? This article is actually not bad. This article is actually good. Like, it's written well. It actually gets to the point. So it's actually a lot better. And then they're like, hey, let's put this clickbait headline on there. Hey, Hippie Queen. That's the worst part, is that this article is actually relatively good. It actually jumps right to the point relatively right away. The preamble is very short, and it gets right into where it came from, who's talking about it, and they explain everything. And it's actually a well put together article. So why this? Catherine, your article is well done. It's well done. It gets right into the meat of things. It reads well. It does pretty good. It reads relatively that a human wrote it. So, you know, relatively, It doesn't, you know, maybe corrected with AI, but like it seems like it was, you know, it seems relatively well put together. And it's short, to the point, gets all the points out. And then what happened here? Why is the headline such a far cry? It's what? I just got here and I'll rant. What did I miss? I'll show you what you missed. Paul Yan stating that scope creep is real and that when you're in a room of creatives, you have to be able to know when to pull back on ideas because you'll blow your game budget out, right? And you want to be able to deliver on time, right? Logical. Headline. Spyro Realm Beyond devs don't have the time or budget for all the cool ideas they had for the first all-new Spyro game in ages, studio lead says. Why? Why? Every game is like that. Yeah, literally, Lou literally opens up and saying, hey, every game is like this. You try something, it doesn't work. You try something else, it works. You tweak it until it all cohesively works together. That's every single video game literally ever. Okay? Any video game that is released that has any sort of knowledge behind it is literally every video game ever. You experiment? Yeah, that works. You experiment? That doesn't work. And you just tweak and adjust and tweak and adjust and tweak and adjust and tweak and adjust. And all Paul Yan was saying was that they have enough cachet and enough knowledge to be able to sit there and say, hey, we know when to pull back because we have a dedicated, smart team. That's it. And genuinely, the article was pretty decent. It was well written. With the worst headline ever. That headline's awful. That headline's awful. With everything else, great. Article's great. Terrible headline. Terrible headline. I just... Why? What? Hi, Cumbo the Beehan. How's it going? Sorry, just hopping on. What did you miss? You missed a really, really bad headline about Spyro: A Realm Beyond. That's it. It's just a really, really bad headline. Devs don't have the time or budget for all the cool ideas they have for the first new all Spyro game in ages. That's not what was said. You didn't just send frogs. Oh, what else did you send? You also sent Brian and also flying frogs? All right. Maybe the headline was an AI. I have no idea. Hi, Hippie Queen. How's it going? I hope you're doing great. All right. I got a little bit more time before I have to get going. Sadly, bad news gets 100 times the views and clicks in positive news. There's a bell curve to that. There is a bell curve to that. It's easier to get clicks with bad news. However, it is, if the news is so great, it becomes the best thing ever. And that's the thing, is that there's a bell curve to it. And I admit it's easier to make clickable bad news. It's harder to make clickable good news, but there's a point where the news is so good, you don't need to you just need to go, ta-da. Okay. Would it be possible, Lore, do you have access to the Discord? If you guys want to join the Discord, we do have a Discord server. If you guys want to join in on that, if we could throw a link into the chat, that would be amazing. If you can't, let me know and I can go do it myself. Perfect. I can't stand clickbait. That's the easiest way for me to unsubscribe from a channel. It's like someone on YouTube is screaming for attention like children. Yes. And my thing is I'll tell you what I deem as clickbait. Okay. Because there's a difference between unsatisfied with the content and clickbait. Okay. That's my thought. Okay. Is there's two ways to go about it, right? If somebody said, here is the secret to making better videos, I sit down and I watch it and it's a bunch of content that I already know. And then I say, okay, yeah, that was not really satisfying. You have to realize for some people who don't know, yes, that is like, that isn't clickbait. That is their first time hearing and knowing that this is the secret to these videos, right? That's not clickbait. It's just unsatisfied. Then there's, hey, Toys for Bob is on fire and then you're like, on fire? What do you mean? And you click and you're expecting a disaster and you're like, because they're developing Spyro. It's like, okay, that's a cheeky way to say it. It's you're veiling bad news with good news. It's cheeky. I'm not a fan of it. I let it slide depending on the creator. But then when it's like, oh, I have confirmation from the developers themselves that the game is going to be launching in May. And then it's, well, I think it's going to be this. That's, you know, if someone says, is this the release date for Spyro Realm Beyond? Question mark. That's not clickbait. It's posing a question to, here's the question that I am asking, and I'm going to give you an answer to what I think it is. With, you know, if it's like release date of Spyro Realm Beyond confirmed, and it's just like a theory, and oh, this is why I think it's that, you could be like, okay, it's not confirmed then. But if you say, is it this? Then it's like, okay, you're posing it as a question. Why are you posing it as a question? Because you believe you have knowledge about it, and here's why, right? And it drives me nuts. It drives me bananas when because here's the thing is that, as usual, I always am looking every day. I wake up and one of the things I do every morning is I type in, you know, quote Spyro, and I look at the news tab. I look and I look and I look, and sometimes I will go to a different search engine and I will look it up and look and see, was there a video that we missed? Was there, you know, sometimes you get these smaller news channels that get an exclusive that, you know, Paul and Lou were just walking past and they were like, hey, can you do a 5-minute interview? Yeah, sure, no problem. And then, you know, they do a 5-minute interview and you get some good details, right? Or somebody gets an exclusive, or somebody starts a rumor, or you know, it could be like, oh, Jez said Spyro will have weights around his ankles. I'm just, no offense to Jez. Jez is awesome, right? You know, then it's like, oh, okay. And I look for leaks and I look for, hey, so every morning I do that. And when I am searching through these headlines and I come across a headline like that, and let's say I had an idea already because I had done a video on it, what they were talking about, but I was like, oh, come on, man. Oh, come on. Because I already knew what they were talking about because no one else was talking about that. And I already knew what they were referring to because I did a video about this. I literally did a video about this. And it's infuriating. It's infuriating because once in a while I'll find a headline that catches my interest. I'll click it and I'll read through, and it's misinterpreting the information. It makes me mad because it's like, well, one, you're misinterpreting it. Two, you're getting people that just do headline reads. Here's the problem. is that there are people that just do headline reads, and I'm guilty of it too. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm guilty of it too. I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh, how dare anybody just headline read? No, I'm guilty of it too. If it's something that is just, I have an interest or just a modest interest or interest adjacent, where it's just, oh, something that I casually know about or something that I'm looking at, I'll headline read too. I'll do it too. I think everybody is guilty of doing some headline reading and just seeing like, oh, wow, and just moving on because there's so much to do in the world and like, oh, I'll read that later or whatever, right? The problem is when people turn around and they make a headline read that is completely so obliteratively untrue, and then other people turn around and say, oh, it must be that. You have no idea how many times that whether it's Spyro, whether it's Crash, whether it's whatever, that people just headline read, right? And there are many people that have come into my chat already. The one that a lot of people are headline reading on is the Toys for Bob is making a new Banjo-Kazooie, right? Because people made headlines about Spyro and Banjo because of what Toys for Bob said. And their headlines are, Toys for Bob wants to make a new Banjo-Kazooie. And it's like, okay, that's a stretch or a slant on the truth, where it's, yes, they are interested, and if they were given the opportunity, they would like to do it, but they are not confirmed to be actually doing it, right? And we don't know and it's spoken with immediacy. So it's like, so then people coming in my chat like, oh my gosh, are you excited for the Toys for Bob Banjo-Kazooie? It's like, well, okay, everyone hold your horses for a second. Let's understand the context to this, right? And also too, I remember, I made a video about this a long time ago, right? Because they actually mentioned verbally Banjo-Kazooie on one of my interviews years ago, right? And they're just reconfirming it. So it's something that is really aggravating to deal with. Do you have a double camera? I am bouncing between things. I didn't realize that. Whoops, sorry. I was bouncing between things. I had the YouTube, I had the double camera going. Whoops, we're now full cam again. We're not going to go triple camera. Yeah, I was reading everyone's chats. So, but we're now back to the full screen. All right, I got about 10 minutes left. So if you guys got any questions, please fire them away and I will try my best. There's one question that I'm going to pull up here real quick that I think that a lot of people are going to maybe resonate with. Here's my question. One of the complaints that PlayStation has is the fact of them stopping to develop physical media. So let me ask a question. Would people be okay with the game launching physically and digitally, but the physical costs more money and a little bit more, and the digital gets dropped a little bit? So I'm saying physical games go up to $99. It's right now $89, or it's $79. So let's say it's $79. Let's say it goes up to $84.99, and digital games go down to $65.99. You drop the digital a little bit and you increase the physical a little bit. But in the physical, you also print stickers, you put extra little doodads in there, you put little knickknacks, you put little additional things. Right? Because the problem is that, hey, and it's like Astrobot. You know how Astrobot had a little map in there, it had this, it had that, right? So what if they turned around and said, let's make digital a little cheaper, just $5 cheaper than the regular price, and then let's take the physical and increase that by $5. Okay. So you decrease the digital, you increase the physical, right? And you add some additional fun little things in there. You get a booklet, you get a little thing, right? And even if you want to go $5 off the digital and then $10 additionally on the physical, so you make it so that the people who want the hardcore game, they want it printed on, they want it. And you know what you could do too? Here's another idea. Is that, what if they did it online pre-orders with a limited physical release? And the online pre-orders are, hey, you want this game physical? Okay, you will get it physical. Just order it online. So you order it online and they tally it. And then they know, okay, we have 100,000 pre-orders. So we're going to make 200,000 games, fulfill the 100,000 pre-orders physically delivered to your door, and the 100,000 gets sent out to the other retailers. So that now you have the physical game. The people that really want it physical, you can get it. Why limited? As a compromise for what's going on right now. Because right now, they are trying to kill the physical release. They're trying to kill the physical release, and it's going to be inevitable. So what I'm saying is, let's create a life raft. Right? Create a life raft where, okay, where at the bare minimum it stops. And then it stops and you're able to still have a physical printed disc. You can still trade it. You can still do it. And then if people are still ordering, you keep it open. And then as soon as it eventually trickles down to the exclusively digital age in the 20, 30 years from now, then you discontinue that. Instead of just saying, nope, chop. Because if it were 100% my way, or our way, it would be continue as it is. In fact, make sure that the entire game is printed on disc, period. Done. No ifs, ands, or buts. They're saying no discs, period. Okay. So clearly, we're not seeing this in the same perspective. So how do we make it so that we see eye to eye? How do we do it so that there is a okay, there's this and there's this, so that there is a limited, just hold. You sit there and you increase the cost of the physical, and if it requires more discs, it goes up, period. It goes up. It does. That's it. It goes up. That's how it works. It goes up, right? If it requires more discs, it goes up, the price of the game. So if your GTA 6 is 5 discs, for each additional disc, it's going to go up. If it fits on one disc, it's cheaper. There's a baseline price and then goes up. But if it's fine there, base, 50 gigs or 100 gigs or whatever it is, then you order it online and a limited amount is sent out to stores in person, right? And then digital for everything else. You make the digital cheaper, you make the physical a little bit more expensive, and you do an online pre-order where the whole game is, and the thing is that it's printed on a disc. That's the thing, not a key code, not you pop it in and then you download it out. No. It goes on the disc, printed. I do think most developers still want discs, though, because they are having a physical game they've worked on for so many years. Yes. And that is where, because if they're sitting there and saying absolutely, positively, no, there is no way, no how we're going to do this. Okay. The problem is okay, we are already at a point where they're saying no. In fact, the next one's not even going to have a disk drive. I agree with you, Mporks, where I prefer to not be a limited time physical release, but if that's the only way, then I guess it's fine. That's where I'm saying is we're, instead of it getting completely chopped right now, we slow the bleed to a trickle, right? We slow the bleed to a trickle. And here's the thing. They make more money because they're charging more per physical edition. They drop the price in digital by a few bucks. That's it. They're making more. Even if you drop it by $5, they're still making more money on the digital version, especially the first party games. But you create a compromise. And then in 20 years, when almost nobody is pre-ordering digital anymore, or 5 years, 10 years, however long, then you shut it down, right? You say, okay, we literally got a total of 10,000 orders in 2034. Almost no one's buying physical anymore. We're shutting this down. And then that's it. Slow the bleed. If we're keeping the topic on Spyro, how much do you think sales would be hurt if Spyro released digitally only at launch? I think that it would hurt sales. I think it would hurt sales. But I don't think it would be as much of a disaster. It would be disappointing. It would be very disappointing. It would be very upsetting. And that applies to every single game. And here's where I think it goes, is that I think it would hurt sales, but it may not hurt as much for revenue. Because of the fact that they earn more money per game. But I do think that a lot of these games, especially these more classic games, because here's a question. I'm going to answer this and then we're going to wrap up. Why did Rumble get a physical release? Let's pull this back a little bit. Because I want you to think for a moment. Just let me pull it back and I want you to think for a second. Why did Rumble get a physical release? Why? It was a strictly online game. Why? It was discounted. It was only like, what, $29 or whatever? Why? Don't you think it would have been smarter if they just released it digital only? here is, whoa, we just got a Streamlabs donation for $20. Our biggest Streamlabs donation of the month so far goes a Crystal Creature Tattoo, who donated $20. You are amazing. Thank you for your content and keeping us informed. Thank you. Thank you so much. That is amazing. Thank you so much for the $20. The alerts work now. Goodness gravy. I don't know what happened with the alerts, but that alert worked. Thank you so much, Crystal Creature Tattoo, for the $20. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You are amazing. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. We are now at $25.29 on the rent bar. Thank you so much. Okay. So let me give you a thought breakdown here. When you have a game that has a nostalgic value like Crash Bandicoot, the people that are buying physical is typically our era. Okay? I'm not saying that, oh, if you're under the age of 18, you're buying exclusively digital. No, I'm not saying that. And I'm not saying, oh, if you're over the age of 30, you're only buying physical and no digital. I'm not saying that. I am saying that the older generation has it in their minds where the thought process is, let me go to Highlighting Gaming, let me go to the game store and take a look at the games, right? The younger generation has it more of, let me go and look on the PSN network or the Xbox, and not so much they don't think of going to Walmart to go buy a game, okay? So, if you are an older millennial, you go into a game store and you're looking and browsing the library, and behold, what is there? A brand new Crash Bandicoot game. You're a casual gamer. You don't really know about this stuff, but you love Crash Bandicoot when you were a kid, and you're going to clock that and be like, there's a new Crash game. What is that? Physical, look, bang. Okay? And then they're going to look at it. That is because it is catering to the older generation, right? Rumble didn't have to release physically. But I do think the physical release was meant to rope in this generation. The generation, the late 20s to early 40s generation and beyond. That was the point. Why? Crash Bandicoot has a nostalgia factor. Spyro has that same nostalgia factor, where you walk into a game store, you see a game that you like, you grab it, you go home and you buy it. So, Spyro, if it was digital only, would it hurt the sales? I think it would hurt the evergreen sales. I don't think that it would. I don't think that it would necessarily hurt a lot of the initial sales, but I think it would hurt a lot of the evergreen sales. The people that just walk in and buy it, right? Because there's a lot of those. Right? There's a lot of those. There's a lot of people that just walk in and say, yo, there's that game. Cool. Grab, buy. You eliminate that, they're not going to look up, hey, I want to look up the new Spyro game. They're going to see, oh, Spyro game. Grab, bang. Right? So the point is that the initial sales, they'll get hurt. Probably not so much. But then those long-term sales, right? Why do you think Spyro went up to 11 million? Right? We got the report that it was at 10 million during the community day, and now it's at 11 million. Okay? That's still 500,000 copies a year from the initial announcement, I believe, if my math is correct. My math may not be correct. Hang on. Because when did they announce that it sold 10 million? Was it 2024? Hold on, let me double check when they announced. When did they announce the sales? On Spyro Reignited sold 10 copies. When did that press release come out? September 5th, 2023. Okay. So, September 5th, 2023. The end of the year, right? And now we're in 2026 at the start of the year. So, they sold 500,000 copies a year in 2 years, essentially. 2 years and a little bit, because it was in September and we're now in, well, we're halfway through. So we'll bump that down to probably closer to like 350 a year for, you know, when you include, no, say 400,000 a year, and then you cut that in half. So yeah, about, it's now at 11 million. So that means that they sold an additional 400,000 on average, 400,000 copies a year for a game that came out in 2028 or 2018. 8 years ago. And they're still making copies and they're still making money. People are still buying the game years later. And not just like, a small amount of them. That's nothing to snuff at. 400,000 copies a year? And doing nothing? Like literally doing nothing. You're not advertising it. You're not pushing it. You're not doing it. And now with A Realm Beyond being announced, it's going to push more sales. For doing absolutely nothing with the brand or IP, you're selling 400,000 copies a year. That's pretty good. Even if you're selling it on sale for like, let's say $20. Let's say they're selling the game at $20 a pop on average. That's still $8 million in revenue a year doing nothing. Like literally doing nothing with it. They made in 2 years $16 million with Spyro doing nothing. That's nothing to snuff at. I'm sorry. And now it's just going to go up. It's just going to go up. That's all. It's just going to go up with A Realm Beyond. That's all it's going to do. It's just going to go up and 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 up, right? So, with that said, I'm actually overtime. So thank you so much to everybody who showed up today. I really appreciate it. If there isn't any news for Spyro this week, we won't be doing a Spyro Yap session next weekend. If there isn't any. If there is, I will let you know. So I'll keep you posted. And hey, right before we head it off though, we got to hold the stream a little bit longer. I can't just go away now. The evil donated $20 through Super Chat. Thank you so much. Plot twist. What if Spyro himself was a member of this banished dragon clan and this new villain is trying to recruit him and that's why he's in this realm beyond? That wouldn't be a bad idea. So let me just throw a plot twist idea at you where we find out the Scavs were a betrayed the Scavs are a clan of dragons that were abandoned and lost their magic. They lost their magic because they were too far away from the dragon realms and they were too far away, and the Scavs eventually became these scavenged dragons. And because of that, but Spyro was a part of that clan, but the dragons in the regular worlds decided to have mercy on him because he was just a little dragon egg. And that's why he was the only one because all the others got left and abandoned or they got lost. And now over the years, they have gotten angrier and angrier because they become more primal, more angry. And then when Spyro goes to a realm beyond, they are trying to get back. We find out that, so the initial plot is the scavs are trying to invade on the dragon realms and Spyro needs to stop them. Then the plot twist is they were originally a lost dragon clan that got abandoned in this realm. And then the super duper plot twist is Spyro was originally supposed to be from this clan. Like he was originally, that is like the plot twist. The plot twist coming up to the end of the game, right when we get to the final bosses, we find out that Spyro was supposed to be a part of this clan. But because he got held back at the Dragon Realms, he was saved a mercy from these scavs. And now Spyro has to deal with an internal struggle of the nature versus nurture, right? Is the dragons back at the Dragon Realms his family, or are these evil scavs his real family? And which one does he go with, right? And how does he feel about it? And he can feel that twist inside where he doesn't know what it is, and he's conflicted, and he feels like he's being split in the middle because this was his clan. And now because they've been corrupted, and now Spyro's left with a choice. Go back to defend the Dragon Realms and and also these dragons can believe that the people from the Dragon Realms abandoned them on purpose, but then there could be an explanation like, no, this was an accident. This was a problem. There's something happened and they got lost. And because they got lost and because they were so far from the Dragon Realms, they lost their magic and they eventually de-evolved into these scavenger, lizard people. And so the initial plot is we need to stop the scavs from invading the Dragon Realms. Then we find out, hey, the scavs are actually originally from the Dragon Realms and were abandoned. And then it's Spyro was supposed to be part of this, but because he was an egg and he was left behind because they went off on an adventure the realm went to go off on an adventure to go look elsewhere, and they got lost because of it. So you could easily tie this up to, again, I had made this is what you get for sorry I'm delaying the stream longer, but for a $20 super chat, of course I can do that, where you can have a story plot line. You could have a story plot line where you have Spyro is we can find out that there was a clan of dragons, because I already made I have a piece of art for it too. Not the Navigators. What was the name? I had a name for them, for a clan of dragons. It wasn't the Navigators. It was the Explorers. But I had a better name for them. I'm going to call them the Explorers, but I had a better name for them. That was people that went out to actually explore and to chart the stars. And originally my thought was, okay, these dragons got lost in this realm beyond, and then Spyro would have to go and save these dragons from this realm beyond, and at the end, the Dragon Realms would come back and actually reunite, and they would be uncorrupted, right? So that was my original thought when I said, hey, let me do a pitch for a Spyro game, where the Nomads, thank you, Elena. Thank you, Elena. Yes, the Nomads. That was the name that I gave them, the Nomads, which were a clan of dragons that didn't stay in one spot, but they went and they charted the stars. And Spyro, being the adventurous type that he is, was originally a part of the Nomads. But the Nomads, while they're off nomading, they get lost. And then Spyro would have to go and save them. But what if we flip this? What if these are nomads or whatever, or a lost dragon realm? They go off on an adventure and they get lost and they can't come back. But because they've been gone for so long, they lost their magic and they eventually start shriveling up, and they turn into these creatures, these beasts, these vile creatures, right? Because they've been away from the magic for too long, right? And then Spyro, they want to invade to come back to, they want to invade and they want to come back to a realm beyond to be able to reclaim what they feel has been left for them. Spyro goes there. Initially, they're trying to invade the dragon realms. We need to stop them. Then we find out these were originally dragons, and then Spyro was originally from there, and they were the nomads that got lost. And because they got lost, they eventually became the scavs. That could be an interesting so that's something that I think would be really interesting. So, okay, now I have to go. So, thank you all so much for watching, everybody. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much for the love and support. We'll be back on Thursday and Friday with some new streams. We might do some Pal World stuff. We might do some other stuff. We will see. So, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video and our live stream. Time for the countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye.